Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. We are going to be speaking today with the amazing Michelle, and she is going to take us through a lot of her journey. She's going to tell us all about, how she not only recovered, but really rebounded and came out on top after a really kind of devastating car accident and a medical diagnosis. I'll let her kind of fill us in on all of that stuff and how she's using that kind of really hard time, that kind of almost like rock bottom time in her life to benefit and help other women. So today's all about empowerment. Today's all about, picking up and, really being that phoenix rising from the flames and really, really making the best out of an otherwise, detrimental situation. So Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and kind of what made you decide to become a female entrepreneur in the first place.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so excited. I listen to you and watch you on Facebook and all that stuff. So it's cool to connect.
Thank you.
My goodness, my story. So I guess starting, a lot of us are moms and, with that title of mom, we all have those expectations and we all have those things that we think we have to do to be that mom, right? So yep. I have two boys. I have a 22-year-old and then I have a 6-year-old. So when my 22-year-old was about 5 or 6, I was still that new mom, right? Trying to do everything, like helping in the classroom. And, I swear if it came up and it had anything to do with that, I was like, yes, I'm there. I was a yes girl.
Yeah.
Totally. Like I even was helping assist soccer. I never even played soccer.
Right.
And back then we didn't have social media like we do now. I mean, so, now we just see the highlighted reels of people's lives. And so we set these expectations of moms and what we need to do to be a good mom.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden I was doing all those things, trying to be everything to everyone. And we were driving to the store and I got into this horrible car accident. My brakes went out.
Oh,
and I rear-ended a city bus. And I had my 5 or 6-year-old in the back and I actually I hit the steering wheel. I'm a very petite person. So my face hit the steering wheel. I knocked myself out. And when I came to, my little guy crying hysterically.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to tell you, that was my wake up call because I was so busy doing all those things that it just all of a sudden how you see in the movies, all of a sudden all these things come through and you see all those things in the mind. That's what happened. And, so I came to and I helped him and I did all that, we went to the doctor and, after about a month of dealing with the pain and the injuries that I had, which was chronic fatigue, I felt like I had the flu, sore, just all this crazy stuff. They had me on pain meds. And again, I'm really petite. So, if you put me on a pain med, I'm out. So I went from being that mom that did it all to the zombie mom that would wake up just enough to take him to school. And finally I sat down with my doctor and I said, we have to figure something out. And she said, well, I've been wanting to talk to you. She said, I think I'm going to diagnose you with fibromyalgia. And this was way back years ago, obviously. And I had not a lot of knowledge of it. And so to me, I thought, oh my gosh, my life is going to be this way. This is what my life is now going to be. I'm going to go from that yes girl doing it all to not doing anything.
Right.
And so I'm talking to my doctor and I had a really, really good relationship with my doctor. And I said, I have to get off these meds. We got to figure something out. And she's like, well, exactly. She said, but what you're going to do is we're going to put you through this therapy program that they had. And they call it therapy, but it was actually how to balance things. We get all those balls of life going in our daily life. juggling all those balls.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm going to teach you. We're going to go through and you're going to go through this and you're going to learn how. I'm not taking you off these meds until we get that contained and we figure that out. And it was amazing. It was a process because it's really hard. I was that person that, if you had called me and said, hey, do you want to have a drink? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I had to learn how to slow myself down. And so, in doing that, one of the things that I decided to do, because I'm one of those people, you have to me, you have two choices in life. You learn and you make it a positive. And how can I help somebody else from this situation?
Right.
Or you can go into, the victim and the woe was me.
Right.
So what am I going to do? How am I going to make this a positive? So I decided to go and get certified as a personal trainer because, again, she wasn't taking me off the meds until I learned this stuff, right?
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to learn about my body and how to move it to control this stuff, whatever I have to do. Well, as I was doing that, they asked me to work at the gym because I had people asking me questions, and women would come to me because, you see the trainers that are totally 100% fit and you're like, yeah, I can't keep up with that person.
Right. Right.
And, I guess I just had that more approachable behavior because of maybe I think the reason why I was doing it. And so I became a trainer. And in that is where I actually started to take on the entrepreneurial, and wow, okay, so I have this, but I still want to function. I still want to do everything. How can I make that work? Well, easy. I can be an entrepreneur and I can look at my schedule and I can work my schedule with the things that I need. So I started to do that. And in doing that and working with other clients, I started to pass on all of these things that I was learning in my therapy. So it went from more than just a training to showing you and teaching you how to balance all those balls of life, how to be the mom that you want to be, but not being everything to everyone. There's just no way to do that for one.
Yeah. Learning how to say no and I know, and it's so hard for so many people because you're always taught, be polite, be nice to everybody, lend a helping hand, be, love thy neighbor, all that good stuff, which is great. All of that stuff is great. But sometimes it's sometimes you just have to say no because sometimes one, you don't want to do it. Right. And two, it's kind of oh, I really just don't have the time. So learning how to say no or not right now can be so like its own kind of freedom in a way.
It's empowering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the tips that I learned, I'll share a couple of the tips I learned. So one of the tips I learned was, and this was my very first big major one, was I don't go anywhere unless I'm put together, right? So what I did was when I would come home, no matter what time, it could be 3:00 in the afternoon, I change into warm-ups and I take my makeup off. So when Amie would call me and say, hey, do you want to go have a drink? Oh, honey, I'm really sorry, but I've already changed and taken my makeup off. So it took that feeling of shame and letting you down
right
away. The other thing that I do, and I still kind of try to do it now, but sometimes we teach the things that we're still working on. And I think honestly, this is for women, one of those things that is just a life learning thing. I think we're always learning, but I use spoons. So say you're allowed 5 spoons in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that as my energy. So, I'm going to spend 2 hours with Amie working on this project or, going over this stuff with you. And that's going to take a lot of my energy. So in my mind, that's about 3 spoons. I only have 2 more left.
Right.
Where am I going to put that? So again, it comes down to juggling those balls and you're prioritizing. And it kind of gives you that mental visual idea,
mm-hmm.
as well as for a lot of us that have the mom guilt and the mom shame, look at what I've already done. And if I want to continue throughout the night, and not lock myself in the bathroom and cry. You know,
Yeah.
I need to make sure I have at least one or two of those spoons to get through the evening.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I like that. And I like I never would have thought about like, something like that you actually think of like a tangible thing, like, okay, this is all I've got, like this is all I have to expend. And when I'm out of spoons, I'm out. Like it's just over.
Mm-hmm. I actually had a friend share that one with me because I have a 6-year-old now. And so it's really hard for him to understand that there are just times that mommy just doesn't have that.
Right.
And yeah, I was like, that's a really good idea because you can, for a kid, you can lay those out.
Right. Absolutely. Even like, I think back to like when I did more like nutrition and health type of coaching myself, like, one of the things that was always like a super tangible thing is, and, you can find this on Pinterest or whatever. And you see like, I have say 30 pounds to lose, say. So you put like 30 really pretty marbles or something in one jar. And as you lose them, you move them over to the other jar. And there's just something about like that physical action of moving those and like actually seeing that gives you a little bit more oomph and impact than just being like, oh, I lost 2 pounds on the scale. But it's like, okay, you lose 2 pounds. And then next week you lose a pound. And then the next week you lose a pound. And before you get discouraged, you're like, oh, I actually have 8 of these little marbles moved over. I have lost 8 pounds. And it just kind of refreshes you. So it's having that visual thing. And even though you probably think of it later, you probably don't carry around and count out your spoons all day, but having the visual of that makes it so much more tangible to be like, yeah, nope, I've only got 1 spoon left and I still have to cook dinner. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. And it kind of gets rid of that mom guilt and that, because I think naturally as women, we just want to do it all and be everything to everyone. And, and it's one of the hardest lessons, I believe, to know that, that's just not possible as much as we want to. Yeah. And the visual thing for me is huge. I do with my clients, I do a lot of vision boards and, all of that kind of stuff, because I think it's just it's so powerful.
No, I fully agree. I was trying to share this over to your page, but it won't let me share it from my business page. So I'll share it after. But yeah, no, that having a vision board and like a lot of people are really like, in general, most people, I think more people than not are visual learners, like that hands-on type of learner. I mean, for me, I totally am. I have to be able to see it, touch it. Like if I can put it all together, you think about making a cake. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going, like once you've actually physically done the stuff, then it comes in a lot better. Oh, hey, Jane, how's it going? I totally forgot. When you guys hop on here live, if you're catching, Mallory's here too. Maybe we're just getting a delay on some of these comments. If you guys are here, feel free to ask your questions if you're on live. If not, not click replay. You actually have to type in replay. Or if you are catching us on the podcast, go ahead and leave us your feedback. And I was really excited about getting this going. And we had a little bit of a tech glitch going into it. So I totally forgot to tell you guys that. But with that being said, when you finally had this like revelation, you decided you were going to do personal training, you were going to do something different, one for yourself, to get off the meds and all that kind of stuff. How was that transition for you coming from, a different lifestyle? And now like you kind of had this like awakening, like an epiphany almost, and you had like a new set of priorities, your health, being with your children and, having small children again and, that whole experience. And what kind of obstacles did you come up against? I always feel like everybody has some sort of an obstacle. Yes, Mallory, the spoon idea, that's so excellent. I'm going to carry my spoon around with me so people think I'm crazy.
Like you're measuring spoons, right? They have some really cute ones now.
Yeah, I have some cute ones too. They're bumblebees.
Oh, yeah, it was really hard to adjust, and you have that mom guilt, and you have the people. I think one of the things are the people that are used to you doing everything and being everyone, or being everything, doing it all, and putting those boundaries up and feeling solid in the fact that it's okay for you to do that, so that you can feel good about it. And I think the other thing was because it's kind of out of the norm, believing in what you're doing and seeing, getting going so that you're seeing that difference, I think was one of the biggest obstacles. And knowing that, making a difference and helping clients and those kind of things, that was so much more empowering than what I was doing before. And as I was going through the process, you see that the more I'm taking time for myself and the more I'm putting these boundaries up, I'm such a better mom because I'm not at the end of my rope. I mean, we all get there sometimes, but I just had more to give. And I had more to give to those priorities versus giving a little bit and extending myself out so much that I wasn't giving what I would want to.
Yeah. I find that when I call it your pleasure tank.
Yeah.
But when the pleasure tank is full, that kind of overflows in a lot of areas, if you want to kind of give it like that visual of it overflowing or whatever. But when your pleasure tank is full, I find, at least for me, like if I'm just coming off of a date night or I just went and got my nails done, or like yesterday I had a massage, like I came home and, granted my kid missed me for 90 minutes or whatever, but I was excited to see him. He was excited to see me. And we just ended up having, the rest of that time was quality time instead of being like, oh, don't cry, Mommy, I've got these aches and pains. And, like I do still have aches and pains because I decided to start working out again this week. But, like all that kind of stuff. But even like for me, it's like I've got my little one, Matthew, on a waiting list for one of the Montessori schools in our community. And it's, I've got him in for just like the bare minimum time. And I struggled so hard. Like, seriously, I've struggled the last probably 12 months with the idea of, and really even more the last 6 months of like, I can't put him in for 12 hours a week, so that, because my thought was if I could just focus on work for 12 hours uninterrupted, I could get so much more done, which is the truth. But I had that mom guilt, like, no, who am I? Like, I'm a quote unquote stay at home mom. What's everybody going to think? And finally, I just had to come to the conclusion, like, actually, I'm a business owner. I own and run 2 businesses that produce income. Like, I'm a working woman. Like, that's actually the truth. So, for me, I had to change my own story for myself, and so for you, I bet you find a lot of clients, whether it's on their health journey or like a weight loss journey or whatever, that getting them to the point where they have to talk to themselves in a different way is probably a huge thing, so tell us a little bit about, like, I mean, because I could go on, me, so I could go on and on all day about like mom guilt and mom shaming and all that stuff. But tell us a little bit about like your business and specifically what you do, because I know you've got an amazing gift for everybody. So whether you're on the podcast, it'll be in the show notes, or you're catching it here live, it's just in the link above. Michelle has put together an amazing free gift for everybody. So tell us about your business, tell us about your gift, and we'll go from there.
All right. So in doing all those things, I have just rebranded because I was kind of doing like life coaching while I was training, right? So I had a business coach that was like, dude, you're doing 2 jobs and you're only getting paid for 1.
Yeah.
And so I've decided to kind of rebrand. So right now what I've launched is I am going to be the mom to moms. So I have a 6-year-old and he's very spirited. And I also have raised a 22-year-old. So because I've been through all this now, my goal is to help moms learn to lean into not being everything to everyone and to rewrite those old beliefs.
Yes.
And reframe and change, repattern that, figuring out when you can take you time, because all moms, if you ask almost any mom, how much you time do you get? Do you take self-care? Yeah. Oh, I just don't.
Usually 0. Yeah.
But there are ways we can do it, and like date nights. there are ways, like our little guy, sometimes we don't leave him, but we'll put him in the bedroom and he's in bed and we might order in dinner and rent a movie.
Yeah.
Just or
quality time. Yeah.
Sit and have a beer or, whatever. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing is I'm helping moms kind of be able to slow down and prioritize, and look at those different spoons.
Yeah.
And figure out what things are the priority. And then the other thing I've been doing is I have so many tips and tricks. Like I told you, the makeup thing.
Yes.
As well as kids, little things to help make kids, make mom's life easier with their kids. So I've put together 5 days of tools. So I'm going to give you one example of one of the tools.
Okay,
so
awesome.
all of your listeners, I'm going to do 5 days for free of a couple different tools, and they're easy implemented things that you can just put right into your everyday activities. I am not Pinterest mom, so they're going to be very, very easy. I'm one of those that you would see Pinterest fails.
Yeah, that's me. I want to go on that show Nailed It, because I can make some stuff and it'll probably taste mostly good. And I'm like artsy, like I can draw or paint anything, but so I'm a Pinterest failure also. Like tried to make these cupcakes, they're like, oh, just put it in a Ziploc bag and you can like frost it. Mine looked like the poop emoji, like no kidding. And that's like, it was bad. I was like, ooh.
Yep, exactly. That's totally me. So anybody can do it. If I can do it, man, anybody can do these things. So one of the biggest struggles we have at our home is electronics. And I think at most, if you have kids old enough.
Yeah.
So one thing that I created is I took an envelope and I wrote 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So my little guy is allowed a total of 40 minutes a day. So this hangs on the bulletin board by our vision board. And he can take out a card. So it's a picture of the iPad. And he hands me this card. And then we set the timer for 20 minutes. And in our home, we have Alexa.
Yeah.
And so we just, as soon as he hands me the card, Alexa set a timer for 20 minutes. And then throughout that 20 minutes, we randomly will say, Alexa, how much more time on the timer? Or he will do it too.
Yeah.
And so it keeps it going. So when Alexa says 20 minutes is up, he's done. iPad goes back. So then this card's done. Well, then the next time he wants it, he gives you the other card. Well, we go through that. When he goes again, and he gets to the envelope because he wants more time, it's empty. Oh man, you've already used all your time? Guess you're done with your iPad today. But it'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
So it eliminates any of that fight. The mom struggle is real. That's one of our biggest fights in our house.
Yeah.
And then it also kind of what?
One more movie before bed. No. Right.
I just want to play this game. Yeah. So he, not only that, it eliminates that struggle and that fight with them, but it also teaches them how to prioritize.
Yeah.
If he hands me that second card before noon, I'm going, you only have this card when this card's gone. And, if he's totally like, yes, I want to do it. Okay, well, you're not going to have it later.
Right.
So I feel like it kind of starts setting them up for that money and all those different prioritizing.
Yeah, and it's that whole visual thing, kind of like the spoons. Like, okay, I only have so many of these little, coupons or tickets. So when they're gone, they're gone. When, just like the spoons, when I'm out, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. That's a really good, like, hands-on visual, for, I guess if your kid's old enough to handle an iPad, they're old enough to pick out a card, right? So
Right. And he just totally it's just his habit. That's what he does. Mm-hmm. It just becomes part of your daily routine. Very simple and easy. And then one of the other things I do that's really easy is I have a spirited one. And so at any moment, you never know. We could go from it being quiet to all of a sudden we're upset or, whatever, right? And I work from home. So what I do at that moment, I'm like, oh, we need to have a dance party. And he loves Alexa. Alexa is like his favorite.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So as soon as I say that, he starts playing music on Alexa. We stop whatever we're doing for one song and we have a dance party. And then it changes his whole attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's just that simple couple minutes of a song. So I have a bunch of different tips like this. He has gone through therapy. I have raised another one. And I had all these different things that we did that I thought, well, gosh, I could help people with that and make mom's lives easier.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a fun thing for them. It's funny that you mentioned like how you just kind of stop them dead in their tracks. I was talking with one of my mentors yesterday, and I'd gotten some kind of like not so much like bad news, but I was like, oh, like kind of some bummer news from like one of my clients. I was like, oh, I'm kind of bummed. And just that it wasn't anything like major. She just couldn't make it to something that she had originally planned to make it to. So I was like sad for her, you know? And so I was like, oh, and so I mentioned that to my coach, and she was like, okay, stop right now. And, you know, she like walked me through this whole thing, and she's like, imagine that you had $1 million. And she's like, how do you feel right now? And I was like, oh, you know, I sent her back this little dancing like minion emoji or whatever. And she's like, see, right now at all times, you always have access to another set of feelings.
Right.
And she's like, so right. So that's what I thought of just now when you're like, we just stop. If we're like in upset mode or whatever, we just stop, have a dance party, which I happen to love dance parties. So that I'm going to be implementing that one for sure. But you have access to other feelings in that moment, whether you're angry or sad or whatever. So you can shift your mood with something as simple as like, you know what, I'm going to have a dance party. Even if you're driving in your car, you can still have like, you know, your own bebop and dance party while you drive, you know?
Oh, we do that.
Yeah.
We do that. We've had many times when he's really upset and he's yelling, and I'll turn on the music and be like, well, you don't want to join me. I'm doing it by myself. It doesn't usually take long till he starts doing it.
Yeah, especially if you find a song that they love. Mm-hmm. Ours is the Wreck-It Ralph song right now, that When Can I See You Again song. That's been the theme song of our house since March. Because we went to Disneyland, and that parade they have going now, they play that song throughout the whole parade, which, you know, the parade's like 5 minutes long, but they play it in a loop. So both of my kids are like, Wreck-It Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph. And so that's our happy song right now.
Well, and the thing that I like about it is it's reprogramming your brain and your beliefs. And so like for them, if you started to do that, you're bringing them back to that time when you were at Disneyland. Mm-hmm. And that emotion and that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. They're able to access those other feelings in a moment, you know, where they can just shift it instead of being stuck in that, you know, not to say that it's not okay to, you know, like it's okay to feel the way you feel. Like it's okay to feel sad if your dog dies. It's okay to feel like, I thought one of my chickens got abducted by a coyote the other day. Luckily she got away, but, I was sad, you know, it's okay to have those emotions and those feelings, but it's also okay to switch them and know that like, okay, that's like a sucky situation. Let's go have a dance party, and then we'll feel better at least about what, you know, in this moment, you know?
Right. And that's exactly what exactly.
And the cool thing about being your own boss is you can have a dance party whenever you want. People don't think you're crazy. Well, they might still think you're crazy, but that's okay.
But you're not in an office doing it.
Yeah, because
around everybody.
Yeah, I got busted at the grocery store the other day. I was just there with Matthew, and, you know, he's like 18. Well, I guess he's over. He's like almost 2. And I didn't even, like, I just had like my mom blinders on, like, you know, like the horse blinders. And, you know, he was making funny sounds at me. So I was making him back, like, you know, like the little googly sounds. Some guy, so I'm stopped by like the chicken or something. And some guy, he looks over at me and he like said something, and it like startled me for a second. I was like, oh my God, I forgot that we're like other people here. Like, holy crap. Like, and he's laughing, but he's like, it's all good. Like, he's like, I got one that's just a little older than him. And, you know, we started talking. I could feel that I was like beat red. And I was like, I just get in mom zone. And I was, you know, I was so present in that moment, you know, making those funny noises, and he was laughing and I was laughing. And I had literally everybody else blocked out. And so that guy's laughing at me. There's another mom walking by, and she's kind of giggling, and she like gave me like that, you know, good for you type of,
Good job, Mom.
nod. Like, I got you. She had a kid in her cart too. And I was just like, oh, well, and to be busted for, like, I've been busted, like, having my own dance party in the supermarket before, like, just kind of cruising along, like, do. And like my stepdaughter was there with me, and she loves to remind me of this, but we're just walking along, do. And there's some like music playing. I don't remember if the music was in my head or it was like over the store's music system. And she's like, well, look at you. Good for you. Like having a dance party. Cause I was just like, and so yeah, that was definitely less embarrassing than that. But, yeah, it's just, kids love that stuff. And, he may not remember that, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Well, he'll remember it now. It's on Facebook. It's official. It's for everybody to see.
Yes.
So yeah, dance parties. Good for your soul. If you haven't had one, go have one.
Yeah, we have a lot of those. And then another thing that we do is like now, I do a simple Post-it when it's time for him to be quiet. So I have a pink Post-it on my computer, and that means, wait, quiet. And then when I get off here, I can take it down, and now it's okay.
That's a great idea.
And it's funny because you're like, we might be talking and then we'll get off. And then I go about what I'm going to do next.
And you forget about it.
And he'll come over and be like, Mom, is it okay? Yeah. Did you forgot?
I need to get my kids on that program, I swear. And it'll probably be a little bit of time before Matthew gets quite the hang of it. Right. But I swear, if I don't have a babysitter, every single time I'm on the phone, every time I try to do a video, it is like the Hunger Games have just broken loose. These kids are wild. And I'm like, don't you understand? Like, this person is like trying to listen to me. And like, even if it's like a paying client, I'm like, oh. Most of the time they don't care, but I'm like, oh.
Right. Well, and that's when I started it, was working from home, and he's sitting right next to me right now. He has the iPad, but he would be sitting there and he would still sit and talk to me.
Like, Mom, look at this guy on this game. And
yeah. And I'm like, dude, we've talked about this. So again, the visual.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect. But, and, pink is close to red, and red is like the universal color for stop. So that's excellent. That's so perfect.
I used them because that's what I had, but.
Well, yeah, I don't think
but that works.
It's close. It's close enough. You could even draw a stop sign on there. Whatever. No. That's excellent. Well, so awesome. I'm going to be, let me grab, it's actually, I want to grab it really quick, the link, and post it on the screen. So that way, if you're just hopping by later, where on earth is my link here? That way you have easy access to it. Or if for some reason you're catching it and you can't get it via the link, this link will also be in the show notes for the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and all the other places that you find podcasts. So our free gift, you can go to michelledenboer.com/5 days of tools, and there's little hyphens in there, and you can pick up your amazing cheat sheet. I'm going to call it a cheat sheet. I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm calling it a cheat sheet of all these amazing tricks and tips that she has basically proven effective to, make her life a little bit easier and a little bit funner, and make things just go a little bit smoother with some of the things that, people often find are difficult.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Everybody, keep an eye out. We'll be sharing the podcast link for this probably next week. It just takes us a couple days to get it uploaded. But yes, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing these really, really incredible tips. I'm super excited about it, and such good ideas.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's so amazing.
All right, everybody, have a great day. And if you're catching the replay, go ahead and click replay. We'll keep an eye out, and we'll give you guys a response. And I can't maybe even come back on here and give us like what your favorite of the 5 tips were, so that we know which ones worked best for you and your little guys.
That would be awesome. I would love
that. Would be so awesome, right? Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to keep an eye out and see which tip you liked the best. I think mine's going to be the iPad tip, but, or, well, that might be the most effective. I think I'll have the most fun with the dance parties. Awesome. All right, everybody, have a great day. And thank you so much, Michelle. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you soon.